Good evening, I am Carl Christopher, and welcome to the first official episode of the Weekly Savage. We had some feedback after the promo, and it was all negative. Some said we were crass, abrasive, offensive, belligerent, obtuse, and other big words. Big words. And after deep reflection, we realized we were on the right path, so they can kiss my I was told that I am very sorry for the last comment, and the producers of the Weekly Savage values everyone's input. Everyone except you, Petra, and you know why. In the news, Education Minister Mike Browne has resigned from his position following his recent arrest. It was rumored that... Nope, not saying that. Not saying that either. Not trying to get sued. You know what? The MP can speak for himself.
I am not the type of person to deal in backdoor settlements or backdoor arrangements.
Great news for many pilots around the Caribbean as Leat returned to the skies for the first time since the global COVID-19 pandemic shut down airports around the world. It's heartwarming to think that pilots will be able to spend the holidays with their secret second families. In related news, Jesus Christ, Leat can land in Barbados and St. Vincent? Really? To the Prime Ministers of St. Vincent and Barbados, Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Motley.
She's a woman.
Oh, my bad. Mr. Gonzalez and Miss Motley, Leat is an essential service, and like essential workers this year, it's near death. Yes, it loses money constantly, like a West Indies cricket fan with a gambling problem. But without it, we are lost. Yes, they still have my luggage from 2012. And most passengers didn't realize they stopped flying until June. They thought they were late again. And yes, Leat is the only airline. I'm not saying that part. So we have to skip. I'm not saying that part. I know you have your own airlines now, and I get it. You don't want Leat competing with a Bad Mind Air or whatever it is you call it. But not because you and she left mean you have to go on so. But I guess screwing Leat one more time is closure for you. Kentucky didn't change their recipe, but Brownie did. Apparently, Mr. Kurt Robertson was caught smuggling weed in bun and cheese and bread and cheese into the St. John's police station. The sandwiches also concealed 19 matches, 2 sides of a matchbox, and 12 cigarette wrapper sheets, and is available on Amazon Prime and will arrive just in time for Christmas. Speaking of Christmas, the hams traditionally distributed by the government will be fresher than ever this year. We have footage of the delivery car. And if a top thief nigga pork in Antigua and Barbuda. We'll be right back. What's the matter, Franz?
Nothing. That's just the way I talk. I'm fine. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to the people of Antigua and Barbuda. It's me, your Savage Santa, and I'm here to read the Christmas list of some dear people in Antigua. So, for our Prime Minister Gaston Browne, under the tree this year, we've decided to put a new singing voice because the one you have now is just terrible, it can't work. We're definitely going to give you some new regional friends because your friends in St. Vincent and Barbados wants to kill your baby, they want to kill a little Leat, that can't work. And the final thing we're going to give you is a new tailor, because this has got to stop. For the new UPP, I love that party. We're going to give you some brand new leadership, because since the Honorable Baldwin Spencer retired, I think that's the one gift that you could really use. And for the present leader of the UPP, if you want to stay around, I understand, but we're going to give you something special for Christmas, because I've seen your tree and your tree is bare. We're going to give you some balls. Some lovely balls, big shiny balls that hopefully you can carry on for the 12 days of Christmas, even into 2021 and beyond. For the Honorable Jamal Pringle, you, sir, we are going to give you the leadership of the opposition.
The government should be able to borrow monies at concessionary rates. For example, Mr. Speaker, I think, and I see the government trying to avoid it as much as they can, to have a relationship with the IMF.
Because it's clear that somebody is pulling your strings. But we give you scissors, you're cutting the strings, and you're going to lead like a big boy this year. For Max Hurst. Sir, we're going to give you the one thing that you always wanted and the one thing you deserve. We're going to give you a feature for you and your car in Motor Trend magazine. Putting Antigua on the map. For the port workers, we are going to give you a Christmas miracle, because that's the only way you're going to get your bonus in 2020. Let's be serious. And for the traffic police in BMH, we're going to give you a clue. So you can figure out the signs on Friesel Road. Really? 35 miles an hour speed limit, I thought it was 40. And then to turn things, I have to go all the way to English Harbor to turn around to get out the Digicel. Nope. You're getting a clue, you're going to figure it out, and I believe for 2021, you got it. For Go Green, we're giving you nothing, because what do you give a man who has everything? Nothing. And for our dear friend, Color, we were going to give him some Buckleys and some Vicks, but the cough is fire, so. And finally, the people of Antigua and Barbuda, we're going to give you a better year, because 2020 needs to be thrown in the toilet and gotten rid of. And we hope with the new vaccine coming in from Pfizer, that we can get tourism back on board, we can get our economy going. But please be very careful. Pfizer does not only make vaccines, they also make Viagra. I made that same mistake when trying to get my vaccine. I got the wrong Pfizer product, and that is why I'm sitting behind this desk and cannot stand up right now. It's embarrassing. So, have a Merry Christmas, a happy 2021. From me, your Savage Santa. I'll see you next year.
For homicide detectives, the clock starts ticking the moment they are called.
You feel me?
Yes, I have a right. I have a right.
You feel me?
Yes.
You're in our house.
Oh, yes, this is this house. This
You're
is
in our house.
Thank you.
All of them. Till all they go and find space. That they want. You're gonna learn how to be one of them. You're gonna push back some down.
It's personal. Because they have a uniform, it's personal. Share to Facebook, it's personal. So they knock it first. They hit him first.
Gaston, we have a problem, and it's not your moustache. It's actually the only perfect thing about you. And frankly, I don't know where we'll be without it. But we're not alone. Although rooted in health, the economic devastation of this monster has hit nation after nation. Like a mother in a house dress and curlers catching her daughter in a high school fete. All of our experts saw it coming and tried to take protective measures. But 2020 exposed the vile reality of our systems. COVID-19 is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Social Security. From Europe to the US, public pension programs are raising their retirement age by 2 years to an average of 67, or as Robin Yearwood calls it, the middle-aged. The main reason for this is twofold. First, people are living longer than ever, period. I know someone is going to call bullshit because their grandfather lived to 90. Yes, he did. but all of his 29 brothers and sisters died before 50. It's like finding one honest politician in the Caribbean and deducing that all politicians are honest. The statistics just don't support it. But we'll get back to that. From more career-focused women to lower infant mortality to contraception to eating it like groceries, I'm sorry. The sperm is less likely to meet the egg in the last 40 years. This has resulted in a reduced working population and a growing number of people who rely on pensions to live. It's the contributions of the working population that pay these pensions. Social Security is the legal equivalent of bring two people and come, the group will move fast, Jack, the group will move fast. This brings us to Antigua and Barbuda Social Security Board, where all the hot boys hang out when the PlayStation 5 is about to drop. The creation of the Antigua and Barbuda Social Security Board was facilitated by two different governments. In 1965, the ALP government realized that our senior citizens were old. And after 6 years of full study and change of regime, the PLM administration realized that, yes, they are old, and in 1972, the resolution was passed and the scheme was born. One of the prerequisites of the board was at least 10 years of contributions before you could qualify for pension. So at age 10 in 1982, the scheme was beautiful. Greed was good, Antigua was booming, and Michael Jackson was still black and still hanging out with preteens and monkeys. But the 80s also brought the drug surge, and a lot of people were getting their fix. In the mid-80s, many small biotech firms were struggling. As a result, many of them were bought out and merged, giving huge resources to scientists, allowing them to develop new technologies and new medicines. Scientists were now able to determine the causes of several ailments and provide treatment. This was also the rebirth of Big Pharma. Yes, the evil empire was the engine behind many of the new treatments, and that has many of our parents and grandparents still around. It's uncomfortable to consider. It's like you know the devil is very, very bad, but admitting his parties must be lit. Party in hell must be lit. Who writes this shit? Autoimmune conditions were finally diagnosed. Advancements in cancer and heart treatments meant people were living longer than ever. And with Viagra and divorce, they actually had a reason to. According to homehelpershomecare.com, between 2007 and 2011, chlamydia infections among Americans 65 and over increased by 31% and syphilis by 52%. That's only funny if Grandpa gets it. Antigua was not immune, not from old people bad sick or improvements in healthcare. Along with conventional medicine, our citizens had the benefit of all the latest trends in nutrition and alternative medicines. We embraced preventative care and became more active as we grew older. Now our senior citizens are out there hitting the gym, biking, walking, and this. That's too cute. The life expectancy in Antigua moved from 66 years in 1972, when the scheme was signed into law, to 77 years in 2017. Even more telling is the median age, which went from around 17 in the 70s to 34 in 2020. That's double. As a nation, we are getting old. We went from school fete to school reunion real quick. The final stop on the train is the UPP convention. Social Security was not built for this. The plan was simple. We take your money, work most of you to death, so you don't retire. And if you actually retire, we pay you for what? 5 years? We didn't follow the plan. Nothing ruins a good plan like people living longer. It takes 2 years of collecting benefits before you start taking more than you gave. And after that, it's up to the 2 people that you brought into go-getters. But in reality, you need to bring 8 to 10 people. We don't have that. We have around 3 or 4 per pensioner, making the system very fickle and fragile. Let's get this out the way. Between 1972 and 2009, the government of Antigua, who was also the biggest single employer, treated Social Security like a side chick that actually loves you. You buy a top-up every now and then, but you take a whole lot more than you give. Now, kudos to the UPP administration, who committed to making monthly payments and technically didn't take any money. The payments soon dried up, but fair play, things were tough. We acknowledge the damage the pre-UPP administrations did to Social Security Fund, but even if it didn't happen, it would still be unsustainable without major changes. This may be news to some, but it should not be news if you want to run the country. The massive layoffs of 2020 had to have some effect. If working people pay pensions, then we are going to have some pension issues if working people are not working. It's hard on pensioners. We understand completely. But this is 2020. We are in the midst of a pandemic. We are all affected. Those of you who were alive during the last pandemic, would you please explain it to others? If you collect a pension and depend on it to live, your anger is forgivable. It's hard to hear anything over an empty stomach, even a reasonable argument. What is unforgivable are those who know better, who know how the COVID has affected our economy, using your hunger for political gains. You want to be a leader, start with honesty. The 10th and 11th actuarial reviews of the Antigua and Barbuda Social Security Fund states, policymakers should also focus on long-term costs, which under current pension rules are expected to increase significantly over the next 60 years. Most of this increase will be driven by the increase in the number of pensioners and gradual reduction in the number of contributors. You know this. How are you trying to help? How does pushing an illogical protest that benefits no one? It's like sending Santa Claus a strongly worded letter. Shame on you. Why are you fanning the flame to burn the same forest you want to lead? Also, why is Lovett the leader of the UPP? His record is worse than LeBron James in the finals, 2-6. And the 2 came when Antigua was running from anything bird, like this girl. Listen, he was never really chosen. He was in by default. Anyhow, 2020 has expedited the journey to the cliff that the public pension funds have faced around the world, and instead of coming together to fix this problem, some have chosen to seek personal political gains at the expense of the people who marched beside them. But are we really surprised that they put self over country and people? After all, someone did refuse to participate in the COVID-19 task force because they got their feelings hurt. We'll be right back. So this is the end of our first official episode. Vaughn wanted me to do a 3-minute roast on the new ABLP uniforms. But I like those uniforms, and I want one. So, instead, I'm gonna play my favorite music video from this year.
Daddy, where's it?
Son, one day all this will be yours. Anything Polly touches is yours. Come, let me show you.
Production, eminent music, color, every hour. Anyhow, wall out in the classic clean. Sexy got a pass in the shades it lean. Everybody wonder how they dance so clean. And a girl ball out say, where that clean? Liquor in the club, smoke from my chest. Money in the pocket, gold from my neck. Matic from my waist, nobody can test us. Boss in the building, now we are the best. All the girl in my ball out, color, color. We spend big bills, them a summer. When we roll in the beam, them a holla. When the Jenna step out, them a all the girl in my ball out, color. We spend big bills, them a summer. When we roll in the beam, them a holla. When the Jenna step out, them a big up the link, them, big up the crew, them, color in the air. Big house, nice car, cheddar up, y'all. Everything we are pretty. Liquor in the cup, smoke from the chest. Money in the pocket, gold from the neck. Matic from the waist, nobody can test us. Boss in the building, now we are the best. All the girl in my ball out, color. We spend big bills, them a summer. When we roll in the beam, them a holla. When the Jenna step out, them a all the girl in my ball out, color. We spend big bills, them a summer. When we roll in the beam, them a holla. When the Jenna step out, them a wall out in the classic clean. Sexy got a pass in the shades it lean. Everybody wonder how they dance so clean. And a girl ball out say, where that clean? Liquor in the cup, smoke from my chest. Money in the pocket, gold from the neck. Matic from the waist, nobody can test us. Boss in the building, now we are the best. All the girl in my ball out, color. We spend big bills, them a summer. When we roll in the beam, them a holla. When the Jenna step out, them a all the girl in my ball out, color. We spend big bills, them a summer. When we roll in the beam, them a holla. When the Jenna step out, them a Styler, Pelpa, Villa, Pine, Grace Farm, Attas, Patters, every needs to all road. All the girl in my ball out, color. We spend big bills, them a summer. When we roll in the beam, them a holla. When the Jenna step out, them a all the girl in my ball out, color. We spend big bills, them a summer. When we roll in the beam, them a holla. When the Jenna step out, them a wall out in the classic clean. Sexy got a pass in the shades it lean. Everybody want